promise you, I'm gonna round up. Hey, closet tears. I'm gonna round it off, and bring it back to why I chose the gang bang. So, yeah. So that with that son, I did with my third child. I'm sorry, I did that. And the funny part about it is he's a different child to this day. He's a totally different child. He was born at 4:44 in the morning, and the nurse came in, and this is at a time when they started, from the time you have your baby, they leave the baby in the room with you. They're only in the, not the NICU, but I forget what it's called. They're only over there for very little bit of like observation for the nurse to do stuff like that. So he was in the room with me, and it was after 7 o'clock, and I still had the same nurse. She was getting ready. She was charting, right, to get to switch shifts. And he was still awake. And she called all the other nurses, and she was like, this baby has not been asleep. And his eyes were wide open. And I said, I wonder, is that because I did not take any drugs? Yes. I said, I wonder, is that because I didn't take any drugs? Like, what was that about, right? To this day, I don't know. But yeah, he's a totally different child from all my other children. He's very, very hyper. His nickname was Speedy, all kind of stuff, because he ran before he walked, right? All those things. Anyway, and then same thing with when I had the gallbladder surgery, I didn't want any drugs. They sent me home with some threes. I took 2 Tylenol threes, and I ended up being constipated to the point of I was impacted. I had to go back to the hospital. So yeah, me and drugs don't. So I chose what I thought was a better way in gangbanging, a better way to find that family, that protection, and that release of the built up anger that I had, right? I found a better way. And that way was gangbanging. I'm not telling you that everybody that made that decision to gangbang made the decision for the same reason that I did, but I know for a fact at least 10 women. And we were all young girls at the time. And I was always the youngest person in the crew too. But at least 10 women that gangbanged with me at that time had made that same decision for that same reason. So we had connected on so many levels that, we really did look out for each other. We really did protect one another. And that's what I was missing. And so that's why I chose that life. Now, of course, as time went on, the seriousness of it was real, the fighting, the gang fighting, toward the end came the shootings, and knife play was always there, but toward the end became the shootings and the drive-bys, and just to give you an idea of the years when I gangbanged. I stopped gangbanging when I got pregnant with my daughter. I had her January of '89, right? So that means in '88 is when I really stopped gangbanging. And if you go look at the history, this is really the beginning of drive-bys being a real thing, right? Like the 80s were the beginning of the mid 80s on, were the beginning of drive-bys being a real thing. So yes, it did get real. It did get real, and I was there for it though. Because by this time, though I started for one purpose, for a different purpose, let me say that, for the purpose of looking for family, for the purpose of looking for protection, and for the purpose of wanting to get off of my anger by fighting. At this point, I had become, to an extent, hardened. So I was there for it. Whatever was gonna happen, I was there for it. I was never afraid, and anybody that knows me will tell you fear is something that, to this day, I don't know any fear. So I was there for it, but then it became real because a lot of the things that I looked for, that drew me in the beginning, right? A lot of those things became the thing that I now had to do if I wanted to prove my loyalty, right? And then I also ended up being gang raped twice. 2 times that I was gang raped were by my homeboys from the same gang. So it became time, and it was a 2-year period in between me being gang raped. It was a 2-year period. So once at 12 and then at 14. And if you've looked at my videos, you know I found out when my daughter was 17 that she was the product of that last gang rape. So yeah. So the very thing that I turned to for protection, it ended up being the thing that betrayed me, right? Ended up being the thing that betrayed me. But just, again, by the grace of God, I was able to get out. I was able to get away from it. I was able to make another pivot, because when I decided to gangbang, that was a pivot in my life. When I decided to stop gangbanging, that was another pivot in my life. But until it turned against me, it was therapeutic and soothing, and it helped me through a time I may not have otherwise gotten through. And I want people to understand that. And I don't care if you come for me saying that I am glorifying gangbanging, because I'm not. I'm telling you, it's not even a perception. It's the truth of what happened to me as a gang member. It's the truth of why I chose to gangbang, right? I cannot tell you why other people did it. I know why I did it. And so this is my truth. And if you disagree with it, you have every right to. But what you can't do is discredit what I'm saying. That you cannot do. You can try, but you will fail. You cannot do that. And again, as I said, what they say gangbanging is today, I don't identify with that. And I don't even know if what they're saying is true. I have not heard that from gangbangers. It's the media. It's people outside that's portraying it like that. So I can't say that it is and that it isn't true. You will not get that from me, because I am not a part of the culture anymore. So I really don't know how it really is. So I can't say that. I'm speaking to me in the 80s when I did it. That's what I'm speaking to. So I'm speaking, as I always tell you, I am not a professional. All I have is life experience. But what I have learned is experience is a good teacher. And so that is what I'm speaking from. So if you disagree with me, you have every right to disagree with me. But what you can't tell me is that what I'm saying is not true. That you cannot tell me. Because I know what I lived. I know the decisions I made and why I made those decisions. And I know what my life as a gangbanger was. I know that. And so I am firm in that, and I am firm in what I believe it done for me. A lot of people paint a really bad picture of it, and it just was not that for me in the beginning. It did turn around and be a bad picture, but it was not always that bad picture. And I believe that's because a lot of the reasons and a lot of the reasons why people gangbang changed. Because at this time, you have to realize too, this is the crack era, the era where crack entered the picture, where money entered the picture. So now people are more concerned with making money than they are with all the other things, you know, to protecting the neighborhood, patrolling your neighborhood, making sure your neighborhood was safe for Black people. That has changed now. So you have to think about that too. And then if you want to get into that, we could get into how did drugs, especially cocaine, get into the Black neighborhoods. Come on, CIA. You don't have to believe me. You can look it up yourself. I've talked about that before too. There was a journalist, I believe, San Mateo, California. He is now dead. They swear he committed suicide, but he shot himself in the back of the head. Okay, go figure. Ronald Reagan funded the war in Nicaragua with drug money, and the drugs were dumped in the Black communities. Oliver North testified about it. He talked about it. So that could be what changed the fiber of American gangs. We don't know for 100%, but we can look at the data. A lot of people are statistical. You can look at the data and see, but this is why. So for those that have asked me the question of why or how I became a gang member, that is my response to it. Again, not glorifying it, but it helped me through a very dark period of my life. And I accredit it to why I'm alive today. I accredit it to why I'm not crazy today or mentally disturbed today. I accredit it to why I even have a sense of what family is. Even that small little window into feeling like it was family, I accredit it to that. And that's my story. And that's how I became a gang member. And that's what I was looking for in being a gang member. And yes, I was betrayed by it. And no, I don't recommend it. But it doesn't change my story. Okay? Thanks again. Please remember to click like and share. And if you have not already subscribed, please subscribe and tell somebody. This information is very valuable. Love you.